Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Matt here, and we back with another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. First off, I just want to start off with saying I don't know if there are any fathers watching this video, any dads out there. You know, I'm out here rocking my amazing my amazing dad shirt given to me by my son. But to all the fathers, all the dads out there, just want to say happy Father's Day to all of y'all. Hope everything went well for you on Father's Day. And we back here, to go ahead and get into a little bit of mixed martial arts, a little bit of that MMA, a little bit of that UFC, a little bit of that PFL, you know what I'm saying, and a little bit of Bellator. Don't forget about Bellator. So, anyway, let's go ahead and we'll get off into it. Let's start off first with the UFC. Over the weekend in the main event, Jared Cannonier actually defeated Marvin Vettori in what was just a back and forth battle, just a back and forth war. Actually defeated Marvin Vettori by decision, and it's amazing that it actually went to decision. And I'm going to tell you why. So for 5 rounds, in the first round, Marvin Vettori, he caught Jared Cannonier with 1 or 2 shots, at least one solid one that wobbled Jared. He caught him with some good shots, and he caught him with some good shots throughout the fight. But overall, Jared Cannonier took this man to the woodshed. He took him to the woodshed, put them paws on him. He put them hands on him, you know what I'm saying? And he did it for 5 rounds straight against Marvin Vettori. It was like, you got to wonder. Let's just get off into it. Matter of fact, MMA folk. Does Marvin Vettori have the greatest chin God ever created? Let's just get into it. People thought Chuck Liddell had a chin back in the day until he didn't. Marvin Vettori's got a chin on him. The shots, him and Max Holloway might have the 2 best chins in all of mixed martial arts. And Max Holloway rarely ever even gets wobbled. Jared Cannonier was finally able to wobble Marvin Vettori multiple times, but can never put him out, never got him to stop fighting or anything. The fight goes on for 5 rounds, and Jared wins by decision. So now, after Jared wins, after that, it's hard to say where he goes from here. I can't really see the UFC, of course, signing up to give him any sort of a rematch against Izzy for the belt anytime soon. So, Jared Cannonier is just kind of in a holding pattern until some things kind of shake out at middleweight, at least between Dricus du Plessis and Izzy, as well as Robert Whittaker. So we'll see how all of that triangle, that triangle match, that triangle of terror, between those 3 guys, we'll see how it all shapes out and where Jared Cannonier is going to fit into that. But nevertheless, he goes out there, he defeats Marvin Vettori by decision. Let's get into some other things. I'm going to dip off into my little notes, you know what I'm saying, see what we got here. How about Joaquim Silva? Wobbled. Devastating wobble. Wobble. It was a wobble. Wobbles Arman Tsarukyan. Who saw that coming? Caught him with a solid shot. I believe it was in the second round. It was almost at the end of the second round. So let's just play this off real quick. Let's just get into this. So Arman Tsarukyan defeats Silva by 3rd round stoppage. However, first round, Arman dominates, pretty much, wrestles him, has a little bit of stand-up, looked fairly good on the feet. Sometimes he had some openings in his stand-up, which, Joaquim took advantage of in the second round. Second round, Arman is, still doing the same thing, but, Silva was able to take advantage of some of the openings in his stand-up, caught him with a solid shot, rocked him, dropped him. He fell, he didn't drop him, rocked him severely. He was wobbled severely, and Arman shot for a takedown, got it, and held Silva on the ground the rest of the round. So he was lucky it was more towards the end of the second round when he got caught. Nevertheless, it's almost as if, he realized he couldn't play with this guy. Maybe he was going out there trying to style on him to, in hopes to try to entice the UFC into giving him a title fight against Makhachev. But, in between the second and third round, I think after he got caught, he realized he couldn't play with this guy. So he just goes out there in the third round, just puts him down. Got an early takedown. Silva was able to get back to his feet. Eventually, Arman got him back to the ground, gave him vicious ground and pound, and got him out of there. So, after that, of course, Arman Tsarukyan, he calls for the title fight with Makhachev. I don't think that that's going to happen at all. Or at least it's not going to be the very next fight. I still believe the UFC is leaning toward Charles Oliveira, Charlie Olives, to face Islam Makhachev for that lightweight strap. So we'll see how that plays out. Arman is definitely in the run-in, but I just don't see him being next at all. But, he makes a call out for him. He also said what most of us already know or believe, that Conor McGregor is not going to fight Michael Chandler. So he called out Michael Chandler and then proceeded to say that he would murder him. So there you go. I'm not sure why that seems to be prominent within guys from overseas. When we're talking about Arman, we're talking about Makhachev, we're talking about Hamzat. Like, when they call somebody out, they just flat out say, "I'll kill you." And you're just like, oh, well, I got to go out here and die then. I thought we were just having a sanctioned fight, but now I've got to lose my life. But then, nevertheless, that's how those guys talk, and it is what it is. So Arman goes out there and gets that win. How about Pat Sabatini goes out there and dominates, finishes his man in the second round. Another guy I just want to bring up, how about Manuel Torres? Manuel Torres with a devastating elbow, vicious elbow to Mota, ended up finishing the man. I mean, you're not going to see a cleaner step-in elbow than what was given by Torres. I mean, it was a thing of beauty. Let's also talk about Carlos Hernandez defeats, I might mispronounce this guy's name, denies Bondar. Bro, he was so technically sound against Bondar. Bondar came out there and he was trying to be slick, and, he was trying to do his little slick stuff, and kind of, he was kind of trying to, like he was going to style on Hernandez. But bro, Carlos Hernandez, his boxing and his overall MMA game is so technically sound, it's amazing. Like, if you all saw this fight, I mean, this guy is technically sound. So that is going to be very interesting to see how far he goes in his division. Finish was a little bit wonky, but nevertheless, he ends up winning he ends up winning by decision. Although the fight could have been for real stopped, probably due to a TKO or a knockout after that vicious slam that he hit Bondar with. But nevertheless, that's just a guy, Carlos Hernandez. That's a guy to be on the lookout for. Keep your eye open for him. He's out there. We definitely want to see where he's going to go. That's a guy you want to watch. You know what I'm saying? You take that from your boy Matt. You know what I'm saying? For all my matter of fact MMA fans, I got to come up with a name for y'all. For if I have any fans out there, I got to come up with a name for the people that watch my videos. If y'all got suggestions, y'all throw them out there. If we wanted to go to wrestling style, I would say y'all would be like, this would be like Matter of Fact Mania. Y'all would be the Matter of Fact Maniacs, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Y'all got to come up with something, Throw it in the comments or email me. Let me know what's up. Anyway, so what else did we have? That about does it for that card. Let's jump off into something else. Islam Makhachev, he did a interview with some outlet, not sure which one, where he basically said that he was actually going for Beneil Dariush to beat Charles Oliveira because he was looking for a new matchup for the 155-pound strap or title. So, he says if he has to fight Charles Oliveira next, he will, but he was looking forward to a new matchup. We'll see how that plays out. I mean, a lot of the times that doesn't mean a lot. Sometimes with some champions that could mean a lot because, frankly, guys get sick and tired of facing the same guy over and over again, game planning for the same guy over and over again. Part of what makes these fights good, or makes these fighters good, I should say, is their eagerness and their willingness to jump in there and actually fight. And if you're fighting the guy you've already beaten and you don't really, there's nothing fun about it, there's nothing intriguing about it, and they're wanting you to go out there and rematch him, I mean, that could play into Makhachev's fight. He might not do as well. His game plan might not be as solid. I doubt it dealing with the Dagestanis, but nevertheless, that is something to be on the watch for. We'll see if the UFC ends up signing that fight for 155 pounds against Charlie Olives versus Islam Makhachev. So we'll see how that plays out. That was something that kind of came up in the headlines, but probably the biggest headlines from the weekend. I mean, you had Pitbull lost to Sergio Pettis when he tried to basically become a champ, triple champ, when he tried to win the bantamweight championship in Bellator. However, Sergio Pettis wins that fight, so shout out to the Pettis boys, Sergio Pettis and his brother Anthony. That's awesome to see them still out there doing it. Sergio is still your 135-pound bantamweight champion in Bellator. So that was kind of cool to see. Nemkov ends up retaining his belt against Yoel Romero. Yoel Romero at 46, still out there doing it, but he could not get the job done. Let's move on to the biggest highlight of the entire weekend, and it wasn't one of their fights, one of their fighters that fought on the card. Let's just get down to it. It was Big Frank the Tank, Francis Ngannou in PFL does a face-off with Johnny Bones Jones. This is by far had some of the biggest headlines over the weekend. One of John Jones' teammates, Maurice Green, was fighting on the PFL card last Friday. And of course, Big Francis is there. They're interviewing him. They're talking to him. He's got on a tremendous suit. I'm not sure what it was. It was definitely, it was beautiful. Whatever it was from the motherland. It was from Nigeria. It was beautiful. It was luxurious. I don't know, but it was great. Nevertheless, he's there. They're speaking with him, and you just knew that John Jones was going to be there because of Maurice Green. And they, PFL, shout out to them. They did not hesitate to put both of these guys in front of each other on camera. They couldn't technically do an actual interview or anything because John Jones is not signed to them, but they were definitely willing to capture all the photos, capture the footage, throw old Ray Cefo's self. Here come Ray Cefo. He's standing in between them. Ray Cefo, you did not sign John Jones. All right, but here's Ray Cefo standing there between Big Francis and John Jones, and the two of them kind of size each other up, jaw to each other. This is what I will say. John Jones, now I'm sure he's well out of camp. I doubt he's training for a fight right now. He wasn't that much smaller than Francis Ngannou, to be quite honest with you. So, I mean, I was kind of shocked to see both of these guys were about the same size. It was good to see these two guys meet, to see these two guys talk. Looked like there was some mutual respect between them, but didn't look like it was all negative. Looked like it was some mutual respect. But it was good to see these two guys face off. I doubt we'll ever see them fight, but it's just good to kind of toy with that. And, biggest winners of the whole entire week of the weekend is by far the PFL. The PFL were able to capture and create a mixed martial arts moment with a fighter that's not even signed to him and a fighter that is signed to him, but he's not going to fight until 2024. Shout out to the PFL. Shout out to old Ray Cefo. He drug it. Here he comes hobbling in between them. But shout out to the PFL for pulling off that promotional extravaganza to get these two standing next to each other and get this filmed and get this photographed. And, you know, that was a good slap to the face for, you know, the old Uncle Dana. Although, you know, there ain't too many slaps to the face of Dana White, although Dana White might be slapping somebody else in the face. Possibly someone that lives in his home. You all do the math. But there's no slapping Dana White when you're Big Money Dana, Daddy Warbucks, Big Money Dana, Long Money. He probably wasn't really too much worried about it, but it was good to see the PFL try to capitalize on that. That was probably the biggest headline of the Mixed Martial Arts Week. So that was cool to see. You know, all around, it was a good weekend of fights. Some good solid fights going on there. So that was all good to see. You know, good times, man. Good times. Good Father's Day, good fight cards. You know, you can't beat it. So nevertheless, I appreciate all you guys for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. Want to thank you again for you guys watching all the videos and everything. And I'll be right back with you here in a few with another video to break down this week's UFC card. So until then, peace.